she was raped by 3 white men, it became very clear that her body isn't hers alone. It belongs to a history that hates black limbs and lusts for black flesh. It belongs to a politics that mutilates black souls and muffles black voices. It belongs to a nation that invaded black wombs for pleasure and profit. It belongs to a nation that sold black bodies like cattle. It belonged to a court that said black folks had no rights, white folks were bound to respect. Dred Scott, 1856. It belongs to a religion that said God saved African savages from their heathen homelands. It belongs to a region of citizens who went to war against their kin rather than give up the right to breed black bodies and keep them in bondage. Her body belongs to every white man who wants it and who knows that a black woman can never be raped because she always wants it. After all, she's a prisoner of her carnal urges. Why would a free white man have to rape it and take what a black woman has always been willing to give? Her body already belonged to them because their grandfathers had willed it to them. Just as her grandfather had done all the dirty work so they could be clean, comfortable. One of her friends reminded her, just in case you forgot, tell your grandfather thanks for the cotton shirt. She forgot that her body already belonged to them because the truth belonged to them. When a famous white man called her a hoe on his radio show, he let her know that her body is his to play with and speak of it as he likes. He could diminish her and talk about her as he saw fit. But her body also belongs to higher powers. It is on loan from the God who decided to give her life. At least that's what she's probably been told from the time she was a little girl. Back then, theology made little sense except when there were stern reminders that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. If her family didn't tell her, the church did. See, the black church shows up whenever black folks say that God told them to love you, or respect you, or instruct you, or uplift you. It also shows up when some of them tell you that you're going to hell because you don't believe the way they believe, or because you behave the way they used to behave before Jesus saved them from the lake of fire. It shows up when sisters who mean no harm tell you to watch how you prance and switch. After all, if your body sways the wrong way, it might sway holy men to believe that they can take your body and tell you joy is the only thing that comes in the morning. Her body belongs to every music video that tags her as a hoochie, or a trick, or a gold digger, or a chicken head, skeezer, good, rat, slut. Her body belongs to the slow motion frames that capture her breasts jiggling, her hips gyrating, her behind protruding, and her torso withering in sensual conniptions. B-I, B-B-I. She belongs to every lyric that tags her bitch or ho! She belongs to every voyeur who pounds his flesh in the dark to splash on ebony eroticism. She belongs to every fantasy of furious sex conjured by pulsating rhythms of pelvic thrusts. She belongs to every would-be student who peels off his roll of $1 bills to stuff inside her moving G-string. She belongs to a woman who, in order to feed her children, put herself in school, has to dance for a living by trolling around a pole in a nightclub or spiraling up corporate stairs to a glass ceiling. She belongs to every woman who has to hear that if you hadn't been acting so sexy, you wouldn't have been raped. But she belongs even more to black people. She belongs to that little girl who was molested by her uncle and then intimidated into. She belongs to that black girl with budding breast who was seduced by a man claiming to be her play partner. She belongs to that teenage girl who was sexually abused by her mother's boyfriend that broke up the house when her mother desperately needed a dick and needed to believe her lover and not her daughter. She belongs to that black girl who committed suicide with her mother when they discovered they were both sleeping with the same married minister, satanic priest. She belongs to the black girl who was murdered by her mother's living companion because she might tell how he had taken her virginity when she was 11. She belongs to the college student who was date raped. Dun, 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 dun. And hushed and shameful, self-denied about repeating inside her brain all the reasons why she wasn't really raped. She belongs to those other young women who have to escort men in order to usher their kids into adulthood. She belongs to those young ladies who are reprimanded by their elders for harsh judgments. If you hadn't been acting like a loose female in an immoral profession, you wouldn't have been accused. If we never gain insight of her in all of this, never hear her voice or her story, she will only belong to myths and stories. She will only be a symbol, cautionary tale, Wesley. But she's more than that. She's a flesh and blood woman who may have been washed away from her truest identity by a wave of hurtful headlines and hateful speech. When she gets over that, and over all of us,